Hello everybody and welcome to ReZero Season 2 Episode 4 Anime Review. An episode that I wasn't expecting to be as feelsy as it got, but it hit you right in the feels. Subaru becomes literally the most relatable person on the history of the world. If he wasn't already, he certainly is now. And makes me like him even more. I'm a big fan of Subaru, me. I know he's got his downsides, but that's why I like him in a weird way. And this episode, God, he's great. He's got the best parents ever. Subaru's got it good. Subaru, despite all the death and all the suffering and all the watching loved ones die, all in all, he's got it all right. Is that a weird statement? Probably a weird statement right there. But anyway, let's crack on with the episode, see exactly how it all went down and everything. Let's do this. We pick up right where we left off at the end of last week's episode. That is with Subaru and his dad having a little wrestling match. That's what we'll call it. They had each other in arm bars and leg bars. Knee bar is what that's called. And other painful looking holds. This goes on for a while until Mama Subaru, whose name I don't actually think I wrote down. I wrote down Papa Subaru because he's Kenichi Natsuki. Didn't write down Mama Subaru. I guess Mama Natsuki is what I should say. But hey, who really cares? She wants to eat food, so she's like, guys, quit your wrestling. Let's go and eat food. And eat food they do. Subaru is given a mountain of peas, which as someone that loves peas personally, that looks great. But unfortunately, none of the Natsukis like peas. So I question why they cooked them, why they bought them. Like, why are they in the house if nobody likes them? Is there a fourth Natsuki I'm not aware of? I mean, maybe, because later on Kenichi says, like, you're my eldest son. But surely then if there was another one, then we'd know about them, because they'd be younger. Who knows? Who knows? It was kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, none of the Natsukis like peas. That's the important bit. They all keep passing them around the table until they make something else out of it, and they all eat it. And it's, you know, they power through it, essentially, is what happens. I think it was mostly the dudes, though. I don't think Mama Natsuki actually ate much at all. I think it was all down to Subaru and Papa Subaru. Papa Natsuki. Kenichi. Whatever you want to call him. Subaru, still not going to school at this point, I guess, is what we'll find out. They try and weasel into going to school, and he's like, I'm not doing it, man. And then he gets a massive headache, or a heartache, or a back. Not really too sure what's aching at this point, but it causes him to, he like goes into his room, he's like, what the hell was that? And at first I was like, oh, it's something to do with the old world, or the new world, you know, the isekai, that bit. Something to do with this dream situation he's in. But then I thought about it more, it's like, actually, it might sort of be like his, what do you call it, his anxiety? Like, what would you call what was going on? Maybe it's something to do with that instead. Yeah. Dad comes in his room and asks, hey, Subaru, do you like anyone? And he's like, what? What do you want about? And then he's like, we need to talk outside. And go talk outside they do. Before that, though, brief thing to mention, Subaru's room, he's got, like, actual anime posters. Like, from the real world, like, the Asterisk War I know I saw. Also, another thing, which is kind of cool, kind of makes sense when you think about it, all the Subaru's room, all the, like, anime girls in there have silver hair. Like Amelia, which I like that little touch. It's kind of good. Like, it's a little, oh, look at that. Like, it was good. It worked for me a lot. But anyway, Subaru goes to have a chat with his papa. This can only go, well, no, I was gonna say it can only go badly. You can have good talks with your papa. It's fine. They go around the town for a bit, run into this guy that Papa Subaru knows, recognizes Subaru as, hey, you're probably his son, right? Makes sense. And yeah, and then the dude brings up school again at one point. He's like, why are you out on a Monday? You know, shouldn't be at school. And then Subaru gets another headache and walks off. So it's like, it seems to happen whenever school is brought up. He's that, like, anxious about school, I guess. But they don't really mention too much about that, like him being anxious about school, later on. It's like other factors, which is kind of weird. But hey, whatever. The dad went later on. They get him a drink. I was like, oh, that's very nice. He opens it away from him because he knows his dad, and his dad tries to like he shook it up or whatever and tried to drench him in Coke. I assumed it was Coke. Might have been Pepsi. Didn't check, to be honest. Could have been Dr. Pepper, for all I know. Which was kind of funny. Good to see Subaru's dad is just a prankster. Well, no, not just a prankster, as we'll soon find out. But yeah, that happened. Subaru said, you know, I'll be sick no matter where I am, basically. So that kind of sucks. He beating around the bush. Subaru's like, just ask me why I'm not going to school. And Dad's like, all right, well, school's great and all, but it's not the end all be all, so I'm not bothered really. Which is, you know, a thing. And Subaru's like, why are you asking today about all this? And he's like, you look better today. You look happier, I guess. Which I'm going to assume is because, even though he doesn't remember at this point, Subaru's like gone through all the isekai. I keep calling it the real world. I guess it is. This is a dream. The isekai world stuff with Amelia and that. So he's naturally, I guess he's in a better place than he was on Earth, which is a weird way of looking at it. But that's the way I'm choosing to look at it. So I guess that's sort of what he was implying. More headache, and then he also earlier on he heard a voice when his dad asked, "Hey, so there is a girl you like?" He asked again. And Subaru briefly heard Amelia's voice and was like, whose voice was that? Kind of weird. And then, yeah, he gets another headache, sees Amelia this time, but she's all glowy and don't really know how to describe it. But can't remember who she is until a little while. They like reflect in each other's eyes. It's very nice and everything. He eventually remembered and then tells Dad, yeah, there is a girl I like, with a big old grin on his face, big old smile. Subaru is a grown boy now. In the space of 25 episodes, he became a man, I guess, is sort of what I'm going to choose to say. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm chatting gibberish. Let's get on to... let's just get to Feels Central, because that's where we're going for the rest of the episode. Is Feels Central, my favourite stop on the Feels train. It's the central of Feels. We then get on to Subaru's backstory, which is not something I really want. It's not something I really think about. When you think like isekai protagonists, you don't really care like what they were before, really. Like it's just he's sent to another world, and it sort of begins from there. But no, we're not going from zero anymore. We're at like -3 at this point. Yeah, he wanted his parents to call him out on his BS basically and what he was doing. And then we see like more of his backstory. It's like he used to be the best at like running and tests and all this other stuff. But when he stopped being the best, he stopped trying. Because like before it was effortless, and this hits deep. Because I was sort of the same way. Like primary school, I was really good at everything, and then you don't feel the need to try, and then you're not the best, and it's like, well I'm not going to try then. Like it's sort of like I can sort of relate to this, and I think a lot of people might be able to as well. But yeah, it hit me right deep, as they say. But then he decided to be the funny guy, and it was. Making everyone think that he was the funniest, they need to be around him because he's the funniest. And then one day he looked around and he was all by himself. He had no friends, no nothing. And that's what it was sort of sad, really, in a weird way. It was like, oh, Subaru, like... I mean, he was... Oh, God, because it's so parallel to myself, I don't want to, like, insult him. But I guess I'm the one person qualified to. Yeah, decided one day, high school debut, first of all, he did his Subaru pose and everything. Because he's awkward, right? That's pretty much what it boils down to. He's super awkward, so he tried to be overly friendly, and that didn't go too well. Everyone was just confused. Weirdly enough, it probably went over better in the isekai world than in the real world. So, think about that one for a minute. And then he decided he didn't want to go to school, so he stopped going within a few months, which... I mean, I never did that. Because my parents absolutely would not let me do that. They'd be like, you're going to school, and that's the end of it. And then I'd just go in, and then I'd come home. Our school had you could sign yourself out and just go home without telling anyone. That was, as soon as I figured that out, that was it for school. I was like, well, come in for a period and I'm off. I've got a headache. See you later, teach. I was not a good student. I've mentioned that in other videos. Don't be like me. As kids, do your studying and do your schoolwork. It'll help you in the long run. Yeah, and then he wanted his parents to be upset with him and basically tell him, basically what I just said. They can tell him, you stop doing what you're doing, give up on whatever it is you're doing, and go. And then he remembers Rem saying giving up doesn't suit you at all and the whole From Zero spiel. And I was like, God damn it. You bring up Rem, you got Subaru's backstory, which is hitting too close to home. You got Rem now telling him not to give up, basically, in a weird sort of way. Don't give up your dream of staying inside, I guess. Is the way it sort of worked out. And then the dad axe kicks him. Calls it a headbutt. It was an axe kick. I'm glad Subaru called him out, because I would have called him out otherwise. Axe kick. And basically says he's a total idiot for trying to get them to hate him. Because his dad was like, if you're going to try and get me to hate you, you're going to have to try a lot harder than that. That's not going to make me hate you, you know. Which, hey, Subaru has the best parents, I think. I think I said that already. His parents are great. And then talking about how in the other world, or like, so he's not, there's this other little bit going throughout this where everyone says you're just like your dad, or like, you are definitely his son and everything. So he was always Kenichi's son. Whereas in the Isekai world, he's not Kenichi's son, he's just Subaru Natsuki, which is nice, you know? You want to be yourself, not a shadow of someone else. Is basically sort of what I'm getting from this. And then the heartbreak, and his dad is like, if you're really sorry for all the trouble, then make it up for us and look after us when we're older. And then Subaru just breaks down crying because he knows he's going to the Isekai world. Like, he's sort of clocked on this is some sort of dream type thing at this point. So then he knows he's going to the Isekai world and he can't be there for him and everything. And apologises because he's like, I can't do anything because I'll never see you again because I'm going to the... It's getting me again. It's getting me again. I'm just talking about it. I hope... Do I want them to do two-way travel so Subaru can just go back and forth between the worlds? I mean, that's like ultimate happy ending. Like, I want... Oh, God, I don't know. But it does feel like... God, you know, it is a hell of a conundrum. It's one of the few times where there's like a split, right? Like, Subaru doesn't want to go back. Like, there's not even that inkling of like, oh, you know, if I was given the choice to go back, would I? It's like, he will stay in the Isekai world for Amelia and that. But he still feels bad, you know, he still hits him in the gut. It's by no means... I mean, it is an easy decision, but it's not. If that makes any sense. It's genius. I love it. And there's tears and hugs and other stuff. It was... Oh, and we're only about halfway done. We still have to... Mama Natsuki's up next, and Mama Natsuki might have broken my heart a little bit more. Dad basically tells him to give it his all at this point, and Subaru does his pose thing to show he's still Subaru, damn it. Subaru's going to school the next day. What? School's a metaphor in this instance, and you couldn't tell, for sort of like facing his past, I guess. Subaru doesn't actually like mayonnaise that much, which is the biggest reveal of this episode. Is because Subaru only liked mayonnaise because his parents really liked mayonnaise, so I guess he was forcing himself to like it more than he actually did. Which is... Subaru. Man, more on that in a minute because it comes up again later. Mum walks to school with him part of the way and talks to him about what Dad spoke about. And she says like, hey, you giving up trying to be like your dad so much, basically? And she knows everything about everything, because of course she does. She's his mum. Mums have that way. They just know. Like, I will never be a mum because I'm a man. That's how it works. But yeah, God, everyone I've spoken to is like, they just know. It doesn't matter how. I can attest to that. Your mum knows if something's up, like instantly. It's like a sixth sense. So yeah, there's that. And then she says something about his butthole as well. So she knows about his butthole, and Subaru was like, you just ruined a nice conversation. It's like, no, it was nice. It was inserted. It was humor inserted. It didn't ruin the feels at all. It made me like chuckle, but still have the feels in me, if that makes sense. It was like relief feels. That's a good way of explaining it. I've lost myself in my notes. Give me a second. Someone other than us did something for you. Who is that someone other than us? It's Amelia, obviously. Amelia and, well, basically everyone, but mostly Amelia. That's the main thing that we're going for. And then, yeah, she... I lost my notes. Subaru says he won't give Amelia away for anything. Even if he's not worthy of her, he'll get her first and then worry about the whole becoming worthy thing. Which, I mean, Subaru he's a selfish character. It fits his character perfectly. He's a good guy, but he's not a perfect guy, and that is Subaru in a nutshell. She says, Mama Subaru this is, Mama Natsuki says that she's his kid, meaning Kenichi's, which, why would you say that at this time? And then Subaru gets the dark clouds come again, and Subaru's like, hey, am I doing alright, you know? And she's like, don't worry. Great line though. She says, because you're only half your dad, you can be half as good as, you know, half of you can be as cool as your dad, and the other half can just be Subaru. And it's like, that hit hard, that was a good line. There's more good lines, you know, throughout, but yeah. As they separate, he tells her, you know, he's got something to do. He probably won't see her again, but he's always thinking about them. He always loves them, basically. Oh God, it is a little heart-wrenching, you know. Family's great, and oh God, it does get me a little bit. And then she says that she knows what he's trying to say because she's his mother, and then he cries some more because there's nothing he could do before he gets taken away, basically, against his will. And she's like, doesn't matter how you get there, what happens is the end. Not really an ends justified means kind of thing, but more as long as you're happy in the end, it was all worth it, is more what she was saying. That's what I'm choosing to take from that anyway. And then she sees him off, she says, take care, which causes Subaru to remember and my heart to break more. The last thing she said to him before he went to the store and got isekai'd was take care. It was like a mirror scene. It was like, you got me, ReZero. You got me again. How many times are you going to get me? How can people say this isn't the best isekai? They're insane. They're absolutely insane. And yeah, then Subaru goes to school, as I said, sees her off, goes to school, goes into his class, and who's in his classroom? At first I couldn't tell because I was like, that's Silver, is that Amelia? It wasn't Amelia, it was Echidna. Echidna was in his class, in a school uniform, which is just, yeah, thumbs up, I'll take Echidna in a school uniform, thank you kindly. And she says, what does she say? I actually did write it down. So you've had time to confront the past, what has that done for you? And it's done a lot for Subaru. He's faced, not his fears, but faced himself, his former self, basically. And coming to school was him sort of getting over his past self. Am I getting that right? That's how I'm choosing to think of it. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. Considering we didn't actually make any forward progress. I mean, we did. Subaru, like, people have been saying that, by the way. They're like, filler. And I'm like, it's not filler. It's ReZero. The whole point is, it's all about Subaru's mental state, really, and his development. How can you say filler? It doesn't make sense to me. Considering development, like, furthering the plot in ReZero is Subaru having revelations about his character. That's how I choose to look at it. Like, the actual stuff that's happening is just there so Subaru can become a better person, basically. Like, all the events. But yeah, it's one of them, despite the fact that, yeah, nothing really happened. Like, the best episodes of ReZero are the ones where the plot isn't moving forward, but it's all about Subaru's, like, not mental state, his growth, basically. Those are the best episodes. You got, like, 1815, I think is the other one. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember. But yeah, those are the best episodes. So I don't really get that, me personally. It's not a point of view I subscribe to. And also, it was real feels good. Those people that are probably just like only like shonens and need action all the time. In which case, why are you watching ReZero? Doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna start on at people. People can watch whatever they want, but if you don't like something, why are you watching? Basically, what I'm trying to say. But no, ReZero, good. That was where we ended the episode. Next week, I assume we're going to get back sort of to the isekai world. Still in the dream world, Subaru will get reintroduced to Echidna. Maybe he'll remember her again. But I'm starting to think this dream world segment isn't quite over yet, because in the opening, right, I'm sort of linking this to the opening, which, by the way, didn't play again, which, you know, it might as well be a staple of ReZero at this point, is where the opening plays way less than it plays less than it does. It doesn't play more than it does play, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's in the opening. It starts with Subaru walking through the city, and his parents are there, and then it walks past his previous deaths. So I'm kind of thinking we might be revisiting the earlier deaths at some point. Maybe it was just there to make the opening look cool, you know. But maybe that's me trying to see something where there isn't. But could happen. Who knows? Echidna, surely she's got some tricks up her sleeve because it's what she does, kinda. What happened to Amelia? Is she going for her own dream segment? Who can say? Who can say? But anyway, let's get on to my favourite moment of the episode. So this was a hard choice. Considering the whole second half of the episode, especially, I really liked. I thought it was really good. So yeah, this was a hard choice for me. I eventually did decide on something I think I did like the best. The thing that got me feelsy the most, got me tearing up there. It was the part at the end of the episode, right near the end, in fact, where Subaru remembers that his mum, you know, what the last thing she said was the same thing she just said, to take care. I like stuff like that. I like big callbacks, stuff like that. Even though we didn't see it originally, maybe that would have worked better if we had seen it originally in the episode 1, and then we got to here. It's not the end of the world, though, is it? It's really not. But yeah, it was a nice callback and everything. That whole segment as well, with Subaru being sorry that he can't come back, but he's got something important to do, and he can't just come back, you know. I really liked it. I really liked this a lot, this episode. It's probably one of my favorite. Oh, is that too much of a recency bias to say it's one of my favorite ReZero episodes? I don't know, but I did really like it, so that I could say for sure. But anyway, yeah, end of the episode, as I said, that was my favorite part. Oh, it's been solid. I was really worried when season 2 was announced. I was like, because season 1, I bloody love I think season 1's great, amazing even. I was worried, it happens with other anime as well, I was worried that season 2, like, because it was so successful already, they put in less effort, or the care wouldn't be there, you know. And I'm wrong, it's still great, it's similar quality to the first season, which is great. And I'm just really excited to see where we go from here. Like, the split season thing is going to be tough because I could just feel a cliffhanger. I can feel it in my bones, and we're like 2 months or more out, and I can just feel a cliffhanger in my bones. But yeah, I think I'll wrap this up here. Thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing and stuff for more reviews. That would help me out a lot. Thank you very much. I will see you next week for another episode of this. Take care, and bye guys.